And
Hello, my name is Sabrina, and I'm doing my presentation today on the portrayal of female athletes versus the AP Style Book. The AP Style Book and Liberal Manual is a style usage guide that journalists and editors depend on for things such as grammar, punctuation, reporting principles, and it also places a great emphasis on avoiding gender bias. For example, when I looked up the word woman, the following rule appeared. Treatment of the sexes should be even-handed and free of assumptions and stereotypes. I found this extremely interesting because thinking back to just any random magazine, I could remember seeing females pictured posed provocatively in like bikinis, and I found that contradicting. So after I wrote my rough draft about female athletes and how they are depicted on the covers of magazines and realized that had nothing to do with grammar, I decided to focus it towards what the actual text is saying about the athletes. And what I found was extremely interesting. Although there are rules set annually to accentuate the equality among the sexes, journalists continue to contradict these rules. So, for an example, one rule, one rule clearly states, do not use lady as a synonym for woman. Lady may be used when it's a courtesy title or when specific reference to fine matters is appropriate without patronizing overtones. So, one article that I found in Shape magazine titled Gabby Douglas, an American Role Model, clearly violated this rule. As you can see, young lady replaced the word young woman, and this word is kind of offensive just because the fact it's like so outdated, and it kind of it has a deeper meaning that kind of implies like wife of or head of the household. Another frequently broken rule is copy should not gratuitously mention family relationships when there's no relevance to a subject. However, it's really common for magazines to put in or ask the featured athlete about their husband, boyfriend, or father, basically putting an emphasis on an influence of a male role model. So, for example, Elizabeth Newman, a sports journalist for Sports Illustrated for Women, asked Danica Patrick, a race car driver, about how she met her husband, and also influences other male race car drivers had on her. In another interview that would later appear in People magazine, Danica Patrick was also asked which race car driver she would like to see in a Speedo. This information clearly veers off. It doesn't have anything to do with her athletic accomplishments and kind of, it's just irrelevant. Many other instances have occurred where irrelevant information is put into the articles. So Cheryl Swoops is a basketball player who was on the U.S. Olympic gold medal team. And an article came out titled Swoops Makes a Return by Ellen J. Haro, a journalist for U.S. Today, that said the following. That included quality time with their son, Jordan Jackson, who turns 14 in June. Mother and son made debuts in 1997. Swoops helped lead the comments to the league's first title shortly after giving birth. Jackson was a regular attendee at games and traveled with his mother as a youngster. So the article was supposed to be about her comeback, but rather the emphasis was put back on the fact that she's a mother and she gave birth to him and how she's overcoming these. Another example of an article that puts minimal emphasis on the athletic achievement and more on irrelevant information was an article appearing in People magazine titled Gabby the Great. Instead of focusing on her historical achievement of becoming the first African-American female athlete to win the gold medal all around at the 2012 Olympics, it instead asked her about her favorite musical artist, her favorite celebrity, her favorite movie, and also put a lot of emphasis on the influence her host dad, Travis, had on her. Okay. Elizabeth Daniel, well, I realize that some of you may think that this information is interesting, and some of you may care about the athlete as a whole. However, the problem with this is the fact that of the 817 articles analyzed in a sports Sports Illustrated, 87% of the male coverage was deemed as was content related, while only 43% of the female athletes were sports related. And the fact that this occurs breaks another rule that states women should receive the same treatment as men in all areas, and clearly this is not the case. And another thing that may be detrimental to this is the fact that Elizabeth Daniels, an assistant professor at the Psychology of Oregon State University, and Heidi Wartena, a professional psychologist, found that both male and female appearing in articles focusing on practice and hobbies, relationships, and roles outside of their sport rather than athleticism were perceived as less talented, less aggressive, and less heroic than athletes appearing in articles focusing on athleticism. Sports journalists also typically put in physical descriptions of a female athlete, which these descriptions usually include their body type, hair color, height, and weight. And this is another clear misuse of a rule that states physical descriptions, sexist references, demeaning stereotypes, and condescending phrases should not be used. Yet journalists continue to violate this rule. Here's a few examples. As you can see, the first one appeared in People magazine by D.K. Howe, and he really puts emphasis on her slender body frame and her thick, shiny black hair. And the second one was actually written by a female journalist who, instead of just saying when Danica Patrick races, she had to put in that she was an all-American beauty, and again emphasized her slender body type. There's my website, but the fact that so much effort is put into avoiding gender bias in written text seems almost unnecessary, because in that same magazine you could most likely find an article describing Danica Patrick in a sexual way. Guidelines provided in the AP style book and Libel manual are not lenient when referring to women, yet these rules continue to be broken. Thank you.